vegetation, very little anything. There's ants crawling on the walls. And so they don't build very much out of wood. It's concrete, it's cement, it's steel. So those are the things. And even some of that concrete and cement, termites can chew on and weaken. So there's not a whole lot that's made out of stuff that the animals can chew on, the bugs. They're made out of cement, made out of steel.
You talked about that they do have more than just Jewish ministries at the compound there. Is that the primary goal, is to be just Jewish, or I mean, are the camps geared that way, or?
It's not geared to be just Jewish ministry. It's not like they're trying to wean themselves away from Gentile ministry. Paul really was a missionary to the Gentiles, but everywhere he went to the synagogue first. That's kind of the way this is. Let's reach the Jewish people, and as we're dealing with them, there will be Gentiles who want to know, hey, what's going on? Who is this God? Because you have something, and the Jewish people have something that I don't. And as Paul found out, Jewish ministry could be very small, Gentile ministry very big. And this is a New Testament ministry, so no matter who you're ministering to, the idea is to get them saved, get them into a local church. And you notice they had to start a local church there as part of their ministry. That has gotten running. They were hoping that they could let Pastor Ricardo be the pastor of the local church, and now when they go back this time, they can focus on, now let's find the Jewish people. Because it's really hard to go out and find the Jewish people, say on a Sunday morning, when they do like to be out on the beaches, when I've got to be in church teaching and preaching. So they were hoping he would be the pastor doing Sunday morning stuff, and they could be out finding Jewish people, ministering to them. But it is not primarily or even trying to head towards a primarily Jewish ministry. Jewish evangelism it's what they want to do. They want it to be seen as this is what we're doing, but we're not doing it to the exclusion of Gentile ministry. So there's plenty of other that goes on. The camps are not primarily Jewish in flavor. Local church is not primarily Jewish. They do incorporate a lot of the Hebrew songs. Teaching about the Old Testament is probably, there's a lot more of it than in perhaps a normal church, Baptist church. But that is how they handle it. Okay.
The World Cup, when that's coming, how much, obviously there's a lot of international travel that will be coming there, and with all the literature, how much of the local people are totally involved with that World Cup?
From what I've heard, talking with my in-laws a lot, there is a lot of local involvement from the churches in the various cities that the World Cup will be played in. It's actually primarily local churches as far as Baptist Missions is concerned. It's not, let's get teams together from the United States and send them down so ministry can happen. We were looking at being part of planning for this. And the planning team in Rio was thinking, if we have teams come down from the United States, it's going to be a little easier if they're in a support role. Maybe staying on the property there in Niterói, in the sister city, and getting things ready, getting backpacks ready for the local people to come in, take the backpacks full of literature, with a water bottle, and take that out and be out all day. The local person is out on the streets handing out tracts while the United States people who can't speak the language very well would be back on the property getting ready for the next day. And when the local people come home, here's some names of people that we talked to. They gave us their information. They would like follow-up. And now we can put that information into a computer as well. That's how they're approaching it this year. It's more local churches getting involved than let's have ministry from outside the country come in.
All the literature has website information, and during the 2007 ministry, people would contact it, and they were able to, from all over the world, and then people that worked with the website were able to contact local churches all over the world, and they gave them contact. It was very easy. They even managed to give literature to more than half of the students, which is really hard.
Yes, sir.
Do you find, I've spent a lot of time working in Southfield, where probably 1 out of 5, or 1 out of every second person you meet is Jewish down there.
Okay.
Strong Jewish culture. Now, I found that, you've got your spectrum of Jews, as we do in Christianity, your Reform, your Conservative, your Orthodox, your Hasidics.
Mm-hmm.
But you could actually sit down with the more liberal branch of the Jewish faith and actually have a reasonable conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
Without antagonism. Do you find that to be the same, that the Reformed Jew is more receptive to sitting down and chatting with you about the meaning of Old Testament scripture than you would get with the Orthodox or the Hasidic? I think the Hasidic, you wouldn't even sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, they can be the most extreme, towards the most extreme end of the spectrum. And Reform, conservative, you'd think conservative would be on the extreme end, but they actually are more towards the liberal side of things. And they tend to be a little more accepting of other people coming in, observing, asking questions, and discussing other options of what this means, what that means. I've read some Jewish commentators and literature, and they can take a law or a Bible passage and make it mean whatever they want it to mean. They have the ability to, and not necessarily a good thing. They can rationalize what they want to believe out of it and come to a conclusion that sounds awfully logical. And yeah, that makes sense. But it's based on their reasoning rather than this is what God said, these are the words he used, these are what they mean, and this is what he wanted you to understand from it. Oh, I've heard 2 buzzers. Is that it? Okay. All right.